Hey, welcome back. This is Pamela with Pamela's Tarot Tales, and I want to do a January review of kind of what I did in January, where I'm at, how that played out. I know we're already halfway through February, so but February's been rough. But January was good. So let's focus on that for now. Um, I got a moon planner from the Mini Moons planner. This is a gift from a friend, and I've been trying to figure out using it, and it incorporates some tarot, and so I've been trying to go through and work through that and see how to use this planner for me because I do use a bullet journal. Um, and what I do like about it right now is this, where I can see all the moons laying out. I'm using this as a way to understand the moon cycles, understand what comes up with those cycles, how really relating that to how I'm relating to the moon and how it plays a part in my life, even though I'm having difficulty um, understanding the cycles and synthesizing that information, but it's more of a feeling and emotive space. And so, I tried to use this as a regular planner, but I've been going through and marking the tarot stuff and some goals and, my poems and all of that. And what I've discovered is that this little bit of space just isn't enough for me, and it feels chaotic and it looks chaotic and it bothers me. But I really like the messages that are in here. And so what I decided to do is use this for the tarot portion of it, the learning the moons and the astrology part of it, and then laying out and doing the full moon stuff and trying to do those exercises to connect with the moon and the energy of the moon and understanding those cycles within myself. Um, and I'm finding that really helpful. The other thing that I'm doing is using it to work with the Wild Messengers Alchemical Tarot. And this deck, this deck and the book are amazing, but I find it really loaded with it's just a lot. It's a lot spiritually, and it's a lot of information, and I find it really helpful. But what I've decided to do is to work through, pull a card for the week and see what animal message comes up till I can kind of get a feel for this deck and get a little bit better acquainted with it. And so I pulled in the beginning of January, um, turtle popped up, and turtle popped up everywhere in my life. I live in the woods, and we live on the bay, and there was a turtle, and I saw a turtle or two or three or whatever in the backyard um, several times, several days in a row throughout the week of January 13th, and the one of them even came into the yard, laid eggs. I mean, dug 3 holes trying to find the right one for her, and then ended up digging one by my bedroom, and laid like 10 eggs or 11 eggs. And, you know, and then it was amazing to watch. It was such a blessing and such a powerful message. And then throughout the night, some animal, probably a raccoon or a fox, ended up digging them up. They weren't very deep and ate all of the eggs. And I was distraught. I was so upset. And it's been an interesting adventure to understand the message of turtle and how that played out and how it showed up in different aspects of my life. And so I'm using this as a time, this journal, to pull and then write some messages from the book and then my experiences if anything comes up in life. So if you're not familiar with this deck, this is what it looks like. This watercolor imagery of animals, and it looks very, very simple, but it's just so profound and so loaded, so cosmic. And then it has the number and then the element and then the animal. So, but the book is the real gem of this. And so I'm trying to take that and really work with that energy. I'm finding it a bit challenging because the messages are so powerful that it's a lot to take on. So, but I find it really interesting and how those things are popping up. Here's blue jay, and how that popped up in my life. I saw blue jay and it came up on my porch, and in my existence here. And I do believe in animal messengers. I do believe in messages that are carried forth through those, and paying attention to those signs. So I'm using this to help me with that process. I've been falling behind, but you know, it's a journey. So that's that. The next, sorry, the next thing is for my daily polls, which I didn't do every day, but I did most of the days. And I pulled, and then I would write a short poem about it. And I used the Muse Tarot by Sacred Creators by Chris Ann. And this deck, I mean, I just can't talk highly enough about it. It's not for everybody, and I get that. Just like most decks have their consumer base, I guess, but this one is just so profound, and it just speaks to me, and it really works well. It's a great reader, and it really helps, and the book is awesome. But this isn't a review. So I use this deck, and I would pull 2 cards, and then I would write a short poem about it, and that would be my dailies. And then at the end of the month, I wrote all of those out using my fountain pen, which is a oh, hang on, I'll go get it. So just for you pen and stationery nerds out there, this was gifted to me quite a while back, and it is a Conklin Durograph. And I've been working with this off and on, and I wrote out on some letter paper my tarot poems for the month of January. I compiled them. So I made a poem for the overall month, which I did from my Wheel of the Year. And then, sorry, and then I did each of my dailies and put those together. So I am in the process, this will be a year-long process of writing all of these out. And here is my poetry at a glance for the year. So I pulled all my cards ahead, and I'm writing my poems as they come up, so I can create one poem. That's for the year, and I wanted to do the same for each month. And January, I did really well with that. So I'm going to read that to you. Unification of dark and light. Choose to embrace that which you fight. Show up fully. Sing your song. Interpretation. No, sorry, not interpretation. Integration is the key. Actions must be taken to make money. Fires burn deep within. Do not sequester them again. Commit to the seeds you have planted. They are full grown and waiting on you to bloom. Fear of happiness just won't do. Pining for simpler times won't help you reach the divine. Upon the precipice, you must wake. Soothe the inner child ache. Partner yourself with love to excel. Rise above. Take the lead, but temper your speed. Focus, study, learn. Put your attentions to earn. Dance is fun, but do not let it make you take a left turn. Each structure is a gift. All begin with a sacred shift. Get outside, enjoy the day, work to expand your rays. Time to choose your intuition. It has divinely chosen you. The choice is yours to make. Integration is the divine's take. Accept your role as guardian of the gate. It's as simple as it can be. One foot in front of the other creates momentum to set you free. Nurture the heart, nurture the mind. Take deep meditation, bathe in the divine. Water in the air, drink it up, become aware, utilize it within, cleanse the heart, allow celebration to begin. Drink the divine waters, create action, hire your own charters, allow dreams and nourish expectations. This is not a time for despair, gifts aplenty, too much for one above, uh, too much for one alone to bear. Nourish the path, time to share, surrender, accept, assistance, prioritize, and be persistent. So those were my January poems, all compiled into one. Um, okay, the next tarot related adventure that I did um, was I did a tarot challenge by Lego_bird on Instagram. And I'll just briefly, you can check out my Instagram. I'll link that below if you want to go back and look at my prompts. And if you want to look at hers, oh, it's not underscore, it's just Lego Bird. So it's at Lego Bird. Created a challenge for January, and it was called Cards on the Table Challenge. And I chose this challenge because, one, I feel like I'm always kind of really spiritual and really about personal growth and development, and with my readings, and I can get pretty deep, which I think is awesome. But I think there's the other side of that skill set that is important to explore as well, and that's what I consider the mundane, or I don't want to say shallow, but what can be perceived as shallow, because I think everything that we want to ask the questions of tarot are valid, and I don't respond to certain questions and struggle with them, and I wanted to get better at that, and I saw that as a place that I could grow. And I had this challenge was perfect for that, because it asked questions that I think will come up in everyday client readings. And I think that um, is important. And I can choose to read for them or not, but I want to choose based on not the fact that I can't or that I struggle, but choose on the fact that that's not where my emphasis is, where my expertise, or where I choose, where my heart is. So, for instance, um, is my boyfriend cheating on me, or is my girlfriend the one, or um, you know, will my girlfriend return to me? What um, what can I do to overcome my grief? Which I think is a really good question, and helpful. So there was ones that weren't just about um, things like, both Jay and Rob have asked me out, who do I choose? I was like, there were deeper questions, such as what can I do to overcome grief? And so it was a good mix, but it was a lot of those ones like, is my wife cheating? And I found it really helpful to dive into that, and gave me some confidence in an area that I am not so confident in. And it gave me a chance. I really wanted to work with the Tony Labusque tarot, and I thought this would be. I just had a feeling this would be so perfect for the everyday questions, for the mundane, for the and I'm sure that it can do the spiritual and the everything else as well. But um, I I don't typically respond to the traditional um, Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, and this gives it such a fun, funny, quirky, relatable way. And I love the artwork, and I just really liked the quirkiness of this deck, and it really spoke well to these kind of questions for me to relate to, and especially because I don't typically find a Rider-Waite-Smith that I like, just because I don't like the artwork, and it just doesn't speak to me. It doesn't respond to me. I just can't. Not that I can't read it. It's just that I don't like it. So and each to our own, right? But this is very, very Rider-Waite-Smith clone-like, and but I just love the faces and the personalities and the quirks, and it spoke in a more contemporary way and a more contemporary means of expression for me. So I really enjoyed working with this deck in January. Um, and I plan to use it more for sure because it is just such a cool, quirky, fun, beautiful, amazing deck. And it was really answering those questions that I, struggle with. So and it captures so much emotion. I just really like it. So this is definitely, a keeper deck for me, and one that I find, um, because I don't typically ask those questions myself, but it makes me feel like I can now, and I can help answer a um, different type of question, different type of client, and it's helping me try to figure some other stuff out. Anyway, moving on, because I'm already 16 minutes in, and I've only gotten through tarot stuff. So I also created a spread. It I will try to link that in my. I posted on Instagram. I created a spread about clarity, getting clear, focus, and I posted what I created, and I also posted what I pulled for myself. So I'm going to actually pull that up. I'm going to pause this, pull it up, and show you on my phone just quickly, but I will link it. So this is what it looks like, called Clear Vision Spread. You can find me on Instagram at Pamela's _ insight. That's at PAMELAS _ insight. Again, I'll link below. But this, I felt the need for this, and I really wanted to share it, so I did. Okay. The other thing is that I decided to do a depth year this year, and a depth year specifically for tarot, but I'm allowing it to spread into other areas of my life and helping me to maybe gain focus and clarity and drive and figure out what I want and all that stuff. So my goal, I think I went through a depth year video. I will link that below. I just wanted to kind of show how I followed through with that in January. I was part of a very, very small Facebook group where we're all doing this depth year together. And, we wrote our intentions, we follow through, or we say, hey, I'm failing, I need some support. It's kind of a support system. So that has become an important part for me. The other thing, my goal for January in my depth year was to work with the Tony LaBusque Tarot and with that Lego bird challenge with the cards on the table and exploring that in those everyday questions, trying to determine how I want to proceed as a reader. The other thing that it did is, worked with we talked about the wild animal messengers, alchemical tarot. And so I really followed through with that. And I was to write those poems, and I wanted to create an end of the month poem, and I did that. And I did my overall poems. I did my Wheel of the Year spread. I guess Wheel of the Year, it's the year ahead spread. And I did all of that, and I documented that. So I feel really good about that aspect of it. What I discovered is that I spend and waste a lot of time on social media. And and I also did the 31 days of tarot challenge. I did most of the prompts. I didn't do all of them. I may go back and do them. I may not. But my computer had to be sent off for repair. My phone had died for several weeks, and the battery needed replacing, and I worked on that. And what I realized is my addiction to social media and using that to escape, and in unhealthy ways, and my unhealthy use of Netflix and things like that. And so it really put me in a place to assess that and assess my relationship with tarot and assess my relationship with social media and assess my relationship with my phone and how addicted I am to it. And I still struggle with it. But I'm more aware of it and more conscious. And I think that makes a big, um, that's a big step. And so I ended up digging out an old tablet and trying, just to stay connected through Facebook. And, I still found ways to waste time. And that is something I'm working on that I think will take longer than a month to work on. And I think that's good. And I think that it's good that it was brought to my attention. And it also helped me to clarify what I want to use social media for and how I want to interact with it more and or less. So I struggle with that a lot. And so that was a really big part of January. Half of January was without a phone. So um, anyway, the other part of January, moving on, is I inherited I had already been working with some dance stuff at our local dance studio, and I love to dance and I love to help teach dance. And, apparently now I do that more. And I compete sometimes. My mom dances, she's 72, and we dance together, and it's just so much fun. It's my therapy. And I continued to teach a tumbling class for ages about 7 to 11 and or 12, and then they're amazing, and I have fallen so in love with teaching that class because it's fun. They listen, they work hard, and they're amazing. They're amazing to watch them do these really hard things and challenge, and you tell them, something, and they listen and they try and they work hard, and it's a lot of fun, and they support one another, and they're teaching me um, such a positive atmosphere because the older ones will help the younger ones that are really struggling to do things, and they see the older ones doing it with ease. And but they've been working at it longer. They've been working harder because they've done it longer. And it's just different when you're 7 or 6 or 7 versus 11 or 12. But those 11 or 12-year-olds will clap for the 6-year-old that's just learning how to do a cartwheel and finally does one right, and can feel good about themselves. And it's just so beautiful to see these kids and work with these kids in this fashion. And I inherited a hip hop one class because I love to I love hip hop, and that's what I've been working on. And my I've been left without a solo this year, and then our studio has changed, and it's changing, and I ended up inheriting a hip hop one class, which is ages 7 to about 11, and um, it's been such an amazing surprise and fun, and it's been a little stressful because I didn't, I'm not trained in dance that way. I've only been trained to take it for myself and to perform, and and I've been dancing since I was 2. I quit for many years, but I've come back for quite a few, and it's just been so wonderful to be able to work with these kids and to get excited about that. And it surprised me. And I know that I'm a teacher in a lot of ways, and I know that it can be. I taught college ceramics and art for quite a while, and teaching is in my DNA. And I said I would never be a teacher, but teaching, when it'll hunt you down. It'll hunt you down and find you and make you do it one way or another. And there's lots of ways to teach. Um, but it's also teaching me a lot, and it's while I'm not I did try to work on a solo for myself, but I think I've come to the realization that I'm not going to do a solo this year. Um, at this time, right now, as filming this, I've decided not to do one, but that may change. Um, but I am not a choreographer. I haven't been trained to do so, but I am going to choreograph a dance for this class. Um, I've also been assisting with a hip hop 2 class, a level 2, which is, ages like 11, 12. There's some 10-year-olds in there, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, helping them with competition and cleaning up a number. And I won't go into all of that, but it's been an interesting experience all around. And then I have continued to help with assisting a baby ballet and tap class, which I've been doing all year, and helping with another number for a teenage group, 12 and up. So that's dance. It's kind of taken over January. It kind of really took over my whole world because I had to learn some moves that would be appropriate for 7, 8, 9 year olds, learn how to teach it, learn how to go in and really make it fun, and keep these kids engaged and work through that and see if I can do it for myself because I'm not a choreographer. I'm not a teacher, dance teacher. Well, I am, but I'm not. So it really has taken over my whole life for January and part of February, which I'll go into February later. Um, but it has been rewarding, and I'm looking forward to continuing with the Hip Hop 1 class and the baby ballet and the tumbling. Anyway, moving on. The book that I finally finished reading, I had set this down, I'd read it, parts of it, and then I set it down. And I finally picked it back up and I read the rest of it in a day, Catching Fire. This is the book 2 of the Hunger Games series. And I am now reading, which will go into my February stuff, the third one, Mockingjay. So I know I'm years behind on that. I have not watched the movies because if I watch the movie, I won't read the books. And I have to read the books first. And so I have seen Hunger Games a long time ago. It was after I read the book. But now I have read Catching Fire. I'll read the third one and then I'll go back and watch the movies. Probably after a little time it settles because if I watch them right away, then I usually get mad at the movies. Not always, but often. Often. I know some of you guys are like this. I know. Anyway, the two last things that were part of my stuff for January is I really continued with my bullet journal. I got this new one in November, and these stickers were given to me by a friend, so I put those on there. But I really was dedicated to filling out my January bullet journal. I wrote my month poem. I did my cover, and then I did my gratitude. I did pretty much, you can see all but 2 days. I did my gratitude page, and there's my calendar. And then I just go straight into that day. And this is as simple. This is all I do for my bullet journal right now. I've tried tracking. I've tried some other things and putting all these cute little things in. The fact of the matter is that I end up not doing it. So that defeats the purpose for me. So I do write my daily poem in there when I do my daily pulls. You can see I do not do it every day, but I highlight what I do, and then I write my to-do list. And I did that every day, and even if I missed a day, I'd come back, but it's all filled out, and I feel really good about that. So I'm starting to get into a swing with my bullet journal, and I think there's definitely ways I can use that more. And then like I said, I printed and posted my January poems. So that's bullet journal. And then the last thing, hang on. The last thing is knitting. And I feel like I've been working on, I always keep about 5 projects on the needles at all times, 3 to 5, and maybe more, maybe less. But I feel like this one I've been working on it forever. And this is, can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. It is a baby blanket that I'm working on for a friend that, and the baby, yes, the baby has already been born. Yes, the baby I think is less than a year old, but I've been working on it. I'm getting closer. I've been getting closer, but January I did spend some time working on that. So I'm very proud of this. This is my first baby blanket I've ever made. And I am um, steadily plugging away at it. I've got several more inches to do, and then I'll have the side panels to add on for the border, and then hopefully be done with that. So I have talked to the mom that I'm sending this to, and she's perfectly fine that that it hasn't been sent to them yet. She's really accommodating and grateful, which is wonderful. Um, so anyway, that is my January wrap up review type deal. What I've been up to. Um, oh, one last thing is I got this um, little incense burner, oil burner, and I've been trying these. Uh, what are these called? The resin ones. This one's for Lakshmi for financial stuff and wealth. Um, and I tried this. This is not particularly one I would recommend because it seeps through. This is a soapstone type material, but the oil seeps through. But I've been burning those in those resin in oil using a little candle, and I really like that. I really like my little um, oil burner, but I don't recommend this particular one because the oil seeps through. So, but it's still pretty. It's fine. But that's been really a lot of fun. And I've also been using my other Christmas gift, my one for and I use that to burn the sticks. But sometimes I don't want the smoke, so I've been trying this out. The resin does work in oil. It's really lovely and wonderful. So, anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon.